Super Street the game, customization trailer, gameplay footage, whatever you want to call it. Yes, welcome back to the channel, fellas. Welcome back to the channel, fellas. So at long last, the guys over at Super Street have finally pushed us out some sort of visual representation and reference guide for us to go on in terms of what their forthcoming release is going to be about. Now, for those of you who haven't had the opportunity to go over to their channel and watch the trailer, what I'm going to do for the first 2 minutes of this video is just let the trailer play from start to finish, let you get an idea, gauge your own thoughts and opinions, and then we'll reconvene straight after, okay?
This is Flow Beats on the track.
So at the beginning of the trailer, what you actually saw was one of the first few starter cars that you get to pick from. When you actually load up the game, when you start your career mode, you get to choose from one of, I believe it's 2 or 3 different types of car starters, or starter cars if you want to call it that have different types of performance catered to different types of genre of vehicle. Now, what I like most about the way in which this customization works is the fact that you can completely transform that starter car to something which is beyond recognition. If you notice in the demo gameplay footage, the person actually managed to put together something which was a mix and mash of Nissan. So you had like a R34 front end with something that was similar to an R35 GTR rear end. Obviously there was an extra row of tail lights added into that rear end just to obviously get around any potential legalities, copyright infringements and all that stuff there. But it was obvious to work out what those parts were and from what cars, more importantly. Now, as you can see, as promised, there are a lot of real brand manufacturers included into the customization parts for this game. The customization around the wheel area where they focused on the tire, the brake pads, those parts, those components were all from real life manufacturers. So it's good to have that authentic feel, because at the end of the day, if you're going to have a game whereby there's no fully licensed cars, then at least this will go some way to balancing and addressing that level of authenticity that the game could have originally lost. So I like that, I'm happy. What I was also happy to see was the interior customization around the rear. So obviously in the boot, well, we call it the boot in the UK, but you call it the trunk in America, I think. Yeah, the trunk. The trunk, yeah. If you're a long time follower of the channel, you will know I have been campaigning for the inclusion of interior sound system to be put in games again. Yes, it's cringeworthy at times. I'm very, very aware it's very Risa and it's not very 2018. Yes. And I don't really care, to be quite honest with you, because I like it and many other people do. And I'm pleased to see that Super Street the game have got various different types of layouts available, different types of speaker and audio systems, similar to the kind of things that you could do in Need for Speed Underground 2, but it doesn't look tacky, it doesn't look like cheap tinsel on a Christmas tree. It actually looks pretty well done. The visuals look like they've been rendered pretty well. So all in all, a very happy bunny I am. Now, I'm hoping that these audio systems have some sort of functionality. Part of me, with my cynical side, is thinking no, they probably don't. And the reason why I'm thinking that is because, as you may know already, maybe you don't, there isn't going to be a free roam option in this game. There isn't an open world free roam activity and things like that. And the way I think about this, that will probably be the way in which you would best utilize this. So I don't know, you and a group of friends all meet up somewhere on a map and then go to a car meet and then pop out your cars, pop your trunks open, your hoods, whatever, bonnets, whatever you want to call them, and then start blazing out all sorts of mumble rap talking about how the girl in University has chlamydia. Anyway, I don't think you're going to get to be able to do that in Super Street the game, because I can't visualize how that would happen on a game that doesn't have an open world system. So from my point of view, it will be very interesting to see, first and foremost, A, whether or not these speakers do have functionality, and B, if that is the case, how will they be best implemented? Watch this space. Sticking on the subject of interior customization, I'm going to be totally honest, I was a bit disappointed here. I was hoping to see more. I was hoping to see seat swaps, I was hoping to see dashboard customization, I was hoping to see steering wheel swaps, gear stick or gear lever or whatever you call it in your country, modifications, all that good stuff, but none of that actually appeared in the trailer. And I was under the impression initially that maybe that just wasn't going to be part of Super Street the game. However, I did spot that the actual seat itself was a carbon fiber seat, which indicates that it probably was swapped. I don't think that original base car model would have had a carbon fiber seat in it, so I've got a feeling the guys over at Super Street the game are still hiding a little bit. They're still keeping a little bit back from us, maybe to whet our appetites as the game draws closer to launch, because that's normally how these things work in marketing. Now, one of the biggest criticisms that you guys have when I read comments under things like Need for Speed Payback and The Crew 2 in relation to the tuning and upgrade systems of those games is that you want something more realistic. You're fed up of the speed card system, you're fed up of loot boxes. What you want is the ability to do engine swaps, similar to what you can do in Forza Horizon. Super Street the game facilitates such activities. As you can see, you've got the ability to swap to 2 litre 4-cylinder, 2.5 litre boxer, 3 litre inline 6, 4.5 litre V8, 6 litre W12. Those are the engines that you can do your swaps to, your hot swaps to so far. That's what's confirmed. I'm not sure whether or not there's any other engine variants or configurations that are going to be added. It'll be nice for them to start putting hybrid engines in. That'll be pretty cool. That's pretty modern, right? No, nothing Prius related, but maybe the sorts of things you might find in a 918 Spider, you know? It's great to see that they all look aesthetically different as well. And as you'll see as well, there's different prices attached to each type of engine, indicating that there's obviously a difference in performance, which is exactly what you would expect. Now, I would not be me if I wasn't honest. I do have a bit of a concern with the quality of the actual car model here. It does look a little bit, let's just say there isn't as much detail as I would have hoped. Don't get me wrong, the customization is impressive, but the final outcome, the final look of that car just doesn't look like something that you'd find from a game in 2018. Now, I do think that there are a couple of logistical reasons for this. I think the first reason is because this car is built up almost entirely of interchangeable and customizable parts. So there really isn't any other type of car that you can put in next to use as a reference point, if that makes sense. I can't put my finger on it, I don't know what it is, but I think it's more to do with just the overall shape, structure, the lines, the contours. Something just seems amiss. Maybe it's the shade of paint, maybe this paint job just doesn't do the car justice, maybe if you put a wrap over it, it brings it to life. I don't know, I can't fully put my finger on it. The second reason would go in line with something I touched on earlier, which is obviously trying to dodge around any copyright infringements and the possibility of having Mercedes, Nissan, Honda all knocking on your door and saying, excuse me, oi, Super Street the game, you don't have the permission to use that. I think what they've done is they've tried to make sure that they play it as close as legally possible without getting themselves into trouble. When you look at games like CarX Drifting on mobile and PC, when you look at games like GTA, you'll notice that those cars are similar in a sense of they don't have as much intricate details in their body shapes, in their contours, in their lines, in comparison to the counterparts upon which you can compare them to, or just in general. So there you go, a quick insight, a quick look as to what's been going on over at Super Street the game. It's been a long time since I've been able to give you guys a meaningful update. A lot of you will know that I've been covering this game quite a lot, quite extensively. I had the opportunity to sit down with the development team and have a conversation about it, and some of you have been hitting me up asking me for more information, and I've stayed silent on it because quite frankly there was nothing else to post out. But this is the first piece of meaningful information that I can bring to you guys. Also, you can't have failed to notice that they've actually pushed their release date back, which personally I think is a good thing. If the game's not ready, don't release it, because at the end of the day there are vultures circling you and they are waiting to snip your legs off before you even take flight. So if you know your product's not ready, push it back, it's fine. Now, Super Street, I know you're watching this, so this is me talking to you directly. What I would like to see next is basically a trailer which shows us a little bit more about how the events work, how the in-game races work, the progression system, so we get a better idea of how things look from that perspective. I think we've known for a long time now that there's going to be a decent amount of customization in this game because it's basically the unique selling point that you've been pushing to the forefront. So while it's very good to see a visual representation of it in video form, which we're very much appreciative of, I think now we're at the stage where what we'd like to see next is a little bit of more understanding, a little bit more light shed on exactly how the progression system works within the game. So hopefully you guys can push that out next in the not too distant future. But yeah, those of you who haven't had an opportunity to see my previous coverage on Super Street the game, all the links to those videos are going to pop up at the end of this video, as well as in the description box, so be sure to check that out. In the meantime, leave your comments below. I want to know what your thoughts are, and I will see you when the next video comes out. Take it easy, peace.